He sells, she sells seashells by the seashore.
She sells seashells by the ocean.
He sells, she sells seashells.
Okay, that's the end of it. Like,
he sells, she sells seashells by the seashore. There you go.
There we go. One of us got it. It's okay. Tongue twisters are not the vibe for the day anyway. Well, you know what the vibe is for the day today, Jay?
What is that, my friend?
Today we're going to talk about SEO. My good old friend, SEO.
I love it.
Well, I love SEO. I actually do like it. It's very fun to deal with. It's, a little less monotonous than, say, like pay-per-click or graphic design or things like that. And SEO is really dynamic and it's always changing. Even just this morning, I was forwarded an article that, of course, I forwarded it off to Will. I didn't forward it to you, actually. I should after this recording here. But it was about how Google Spam Bot has been, last year they caught a lot more spam and spam sites and things to that nature. And I think that that's just, well, obviously we want the internet to have more information. Now, I don't like the fact that an AI is dictating what is, what goes in what pile, but that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's chewing on that.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's chewing on that. So with all of those changes and, everybody wants, of course, the benefits of SEO. Nobody really wants to do SEO because,
it's got its challenges.
It's expensive. It takes a long time if you've never done it before. There are things to do that you can do to make it easier, and we'll go over some of those band-aids, if you will, in a bit here. So I want to talk about different SEO types. So there's a lot of confusion around this. There's on-page, there's technical SEO, there's off-page SEO or backlink building, as you probably know it. And I mean, all of these really center around the same core principles: keywords and content. Those are the two main themes throughout all of these same things, with the exception of technical SEO, which of course has to do with integrating pixels and things to that nature.
Yep.
So keywords and content, and well, even keywords really are the basis of content. And now keywords are everything. So if you've ever, I don't know if you've ever done this before. Actually, I think you have. We ran our keyword analysis on a raw page of text. Just like a blog, somebody's blog post. We just snagged one offline and ran it through. The keywords that it was putting through were like things like "it is," and "there was," and it's just all of these random seeming keyword phrases that just kind of were like, "What in the hell is this? And why are so many people searching for it? More importantly, why are there 20 million searches for this term every single month? What on God's green earth is the reason for this?" And when you're doing research, you will, you'll come across this all the time when you're doing your keyword research. And doing keyword research is a little bit, it can be confusing for some people, because I mean, it really does make a difference. If you take time to really choose amazing, keywords that fit in with your target niche and, really take time to do something about your keywords, you can actually get way better results than somebody who didn't take the time. Now, I want to stress that keyword research is not something that happens once and never happens again. Yes, you will have it once, but then you're going to go back every, some people go as often as every day.
Yep.
Check how those keywords are performing and changing things out when they even slightly dip in the wrong direction and swap it for something that's not. And so, you know, keyword research is really what you make of it. Now, I like to refresh keywords on a monthly basis at least, if not every 2 weeks. I'll go out and do some research and verify all the ones that we have currently are still, you know, trending in the right direction, or if they're in a slump, is it a seasonal slump that happens every year, and it, you know, it's something repeatable, and if so, we don't get rid of it, we hold on to it. So really, keyword research is a little harder. You want to find really good keywords that don't have a lot of other people ranking for them. So keywords are split into 3 different, well, technically 4 different types, but we'll talk about the 3 main types.
Yeah.
There's head keywords, which are one, you know, single word. Think like health, coach, life, nutrition. Think that very general terms, marketing, sales, business, you know. So those different kinds of ones are, they have the highest search volume, but the highest competition. And most of those are dominated by massive, huge Fortune 500 companies with huge budgets and millions of dollars to spend in SEO. And, you know, those ones are not really something that you really want to be going after as a smaller business. Now, that doesn't mean that you want to avoid them. Of course, include them wherever they pop up. Keywords pop up everywhere, which is why content, especially blogging, is actually a very effective way to build SEO. Because keywords and key phrases pop up naturally inside of your blogging efforts.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the keywords. So the what are they called? They're called head keywords. So head keywords. Now I want to look up the number because I don't want to give inaccurate info right here. Okay, so sorry, 70% of keywords are long tail keywords, and 30% are head terms and 2 to 3 word keywords. Sorry, their chart is very confusing here.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm trying to interpret the chart like, oh geez, I really should have pulled this up beforehand. But I digress. Anyway, so different kinds of keywords, those 2 to 3 keyword results, and I think it really might be a better idea if I also share this along with a visual, so everybody can see what I'm referencing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because there's a ton of different ones here. I'm trying to like remember how to blow this up a little bit. I don't know who this person is, but we will see. Oh, there we go. Okay, I guess this is as good as it gets. So anyway, whoa. Okay, I guess it gets better. So anyway, we have our head keywords. Like I said, 1 word, 2 to 3 keyword. Now, this chart right here is actually a very super handy one. You'll see it all around the web in different variations, and I'll go back to the search results page so you can kind of see how all of those different ones look, and you guys kind of see what I was trying to interpret earlier was a mess. Anyway, so those head terms and 2 to 3 keywords have higher competition. They're more expensive as far as cost per click goes, and they're very competitive. They're very common keywords that pop up in the conversations that you have, you know, in those particular in the content that you write about. So for us, it's digital marketing. So digital marketing, digital marketing, marketing development, marketing strategy, developing a marketing strategy. How do I develop a marketing? You know, all these things just naturally come up in conversation when we're talking about them. Now, these longer tail keywords is more lower competition, and they also have a lower search volume. So I remember earlier today you were talking about your affiliate links and how they were performing and how you were ranking for some that were like, you know, had 2,000 search volume, but were still making sales and clicks, right?
Yes.
Guess what? That's what you did. You put it on you ranked it for a long tail keyword, which is the search, or the fifth or the fourth kind is a search query, which is a longer, around up to 32, you know, up to 32 words, according to Google. So search queries are a whole different realm, and we can get into those in our episode when we talk specifically about OGAS. That'll be, you know, a little bit longer of a conversation and not for today. But anyway, so I wanted to go over this whole thing about keyword research specifically. And I just realized that I was not sharing the little thing here, but whatever. So right here, for example, higher competition and cost, lower cost and risk, but boom, 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 high probability of conversion. So that's the same exact principle that you're experiencing right there with your affiliate links. So you've ranked them on something that's not, you know, not competitive. There's very low there's very low volume of that search, but there's no competition. There's nobody else competing for the top spot. You have the top spot. So see, if you take a look at this, is the one that I was having trouble interpreting because I was trying to figure out, is all of these, are all of these little things here 10% each? And then I was like, wait, no, that doesn't even add up to the proper anything. So, you know, brain. But 70% of the searches on the web are short-term keywords. So when you're looking for a keyword, if you are seeing that it has like a higher search volume than like 10,000, I would probably say about 10,000. Chances are you're probably walking right into the into that where it starts to curve up. 10,000 or less, I would definitely say belongs in the long tail keywords. Now, some might disagree that those are closer to a little bit higher on the curve, but not quite up at the very top. But I really don't know. SEO is always, I want to just kind of preface this entire conversation. SEO changes literally every single day. If you follow the Google Webmasters or the Bing Webmasters, there's a release every single day about changes to how ranking works, or what factors play into what factors no longer play to that, what's no longer relevant. So all of that kind of plays into all of this stuff. Anyway, so keyword research is kind of like the cornerstone of everything that you're about to start doing with SEO. So now you got to write content. You got to take all of these keywords and walk yourself and go and put some content together. So between, and I'll go over all of the on-page stuff today. We will talk about off-page in a separate podcast, so look out for that episode soon. But for today, we'll talk about on-page. So I will spend a couple of minutes on, I'll spend quite a bit of time on content, and then we'll talk about page structuring and some best practices, as always. But today, we're going to be talking about all of the best practices at the request of one or two of our viewers. Actually, it was like 50. Content Marketing 101. Welcome back. It is amazing to have you guys here, and welcome. I mean, I have visuals today. I really do take your guys' feedback and I turn it into stuff. So, hi, I'm LJ. Welcome. I was asked to give a brief intro about myself in an email, which apparently I thought you guys already knew me, but I've been in marketing for 2.5 years, business finance for a total of 4 years, 2 years in business strategy, and the last year has been pretty focused in on SEO. So that's my background. Anyway, what we're talking about today, what is content marketing? Of course, everything is going to circle around content marketing and content itself, but we got to talk about some stuff. So what is content marketing? Who should we be modeling? Who are the best in the business, so to speak? What is a content funnel and how do you make one more specifically? And then of course, I've got a couple of copywriting tools and tips that I'll go over at the end there. So stick around for all the good stuff. So I'll just jump right in. Like, I mean, what is content marketing? So it is any visual or written representation of your brand that you use in marketing and sales, in person-to-person interactions over videos. And that can come across in many different mediums. Like, I mean, these are just a couple of examples: articles, blogs, case studies, diagrams, infographics, ebooks, free offers, and the list goes on and on and on and on. This is a very limited list, actually. But in that same idea, there are like some amazing people in here. And I always start with these guys because, well, obviously we're partners of theirs. So of course, why wouldn't I mention them first? But these guys are the best at blog content. Like, just hands down. I get a daily newsletter basically, from the marketing blog and then from just like a general stuff blog basically. So all of their blog content never misses. It's just on point, and they use a very, very specific technique that I actually suggest for everybody to use when building your content strategy. Now, second to HubSpot, or I wouldn't even say second to HubSpot, I would actually say tied for first with HubSpot is actually Seo Patel. Now, he's primarily focused in on SEO, but blogging SEO, if you remember from the keywords video, are content marketing. So anyway, I usually consult his blog, his website, his videos, and he's got lots of other content that he puts out that is just top notch. I highly recommend going and go take a look at his stuff. Now, the other one that really just I wanted to throw these guys in there mostly because I wanted to give a great example of B2B focused marketing. So Oracle is a technology company. They make a lot of, most notably their, what is that thing called a CRM. They've got some fingers in machine learning and AI and things of that nature. So, I mean, all of that is very interesting, but they have really great SEO strategy, and they do follow a lot of the best practices that we'll discuss in a bit. So this one is kind of self-explanatory, but the Content Marketing Institute, you should definitely give them a look and a listen because, well, do I really need to explain any further, as I'm saying? The final real guy that I want to talk about is Jeff Bullis, and this guy is actually specifically for his headlines. His blog content is also in the same format, and he's just as good at that too. But I want to specifically notate that his headlines are what I go there for mostly. He is the king of headlines. Don't even, it's hard to not click on something. Some of his headlines just make me question, should I even bother to resist or not? Anyway, those are the best people in the business as far as content marketing, blogging, and in Seo Patel's case, SEO. But all of these guys are domination. They really have been around for a long time. They've perfected it. And they're in my mind, they're a set of good gurus. Now, I hate the word guru, but these ones are very good examples of people that actually know what they're doing and have good advice that you should follow. And even I follow. I model my own strategies off of these guys. Moving on, now that we know who we should be modeling and, who's a good idea to follow and listen, we want to talk about how do we actually drive and how do we make a content funnel. So it all really does depend. Content funnels are way more dynamic, and that's why there's so many people that are trying and seeking out content marketing services. And a lot of companies are actually struggling with building content funnels, and they're not easy. Don't feel alone. The reason why you're here is because you want to learn how to do this. So don't worry, don't feel embarrassed or anything, because I'm going to break it down for you nice and simple. So content is broken up into three main areas: top of funnel content, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel, or as I will be referring to them, tofu, mofu, and bofu. It did give me a little giggle when I first heard it. So talking about tofu content, think about your very generalized questions. These can also be called your pillars, or content pillars, or your cornerstone content. Generally, this is the longest content on your site or on your blog. For example, I have a content or a cornerstone content for each one of our main pillars, and then each one of our sub pillars also has its own cornerstone. Of course, after that is all centered around, and I'll give you a live example here. So our centers of subjects are all around tools, tips, or strategy, and technical stuff. So the three T's: tools, tips, and technical. So anyway, these are usually, top of funnel content is usually dominated by niche leaders. So if you go, what is digital marketing? And I actually go to search that on Google, or when I was doing research for this article even, and I wanted to kind of get a real definition, like what is an accepted industry definition? Because I used to define content marketing as specifically written and visual, not exactly extending into videos. But after reading it, I felt I needed to adjust my stance because they had a good argument. So anyway, that's part of being an entrepreneur, always learning. So what is digital marketing is an example of top of funnel content. What is a life coach? What does a life coach do? What is the purpose of an IT company? Really, it's very, very general terms and very general questions. When you're looking for top of funnel content, a great place to look is Answer the Public and Answer Socrates both. Answer the Public is a little better than Answer Socrates, but Answer Socrates is free, and Answer the Public actually has a credit limit where you can only do a certain number of searches. So keep those both in mind, and don't forget at the end of this presentation there is a list of all of the tools and resources that I mentioned in this video here. All right, so top of funnel content is all fun. That's really how you kind of scoop. This is how you scoop market share. So when you're really trying to get people onto your website and start the process of, and I've actually got a picture of a funnel somewhere in this. I think it was on a couple of slides back. Yeah, so when we're trying to scoot or bring people into the top of our funnel, that's the top of funnel content, obviously. The middle of funnel is where we're turning our leads into prospects, so our traffic into people that are potentially somebody that could eventually purchase our product or our service. So I actually like to split the middle of funnel into two different halves. I am not alone in this, but also some people do just opt over that completely. So I call the middle top of funnel. They're not quite ready to move down into the funnel yet. They're still got a couple more questions. They want a little more info. And a great example, the case for text marketing, or email marketing from every side, to give an example from our blog. That's middle top of funnel content that you're not sure if you need this yet, but you're exploring it and you're open to the idea of becoming a user of this technology or this service. Sorry, I'm fixing my camera there so I can read this. All right, so true middle of funnel content is the more accepted use of. Mostly I'll use like tools and yeah, mostly tools. Like, so 6 tools to make blog writing easier. That would be a great example of middle funnel content. They're asking more questions about deeper problems that you solve. So in this case, blog writing. Obviously, we want to get people in here to, you know, that's what people hire us for. They hire us to build their marketing content funnels. So be it on social media, through actual written content, through video content, that's what we do. So, so this is exactly why. So 6 tools to make it easier, but you still have to do it yourself. So it still leaves us open for that final, you know, okay, it's easier. This is how you do it easier, but then we move into bottom of funnel content, which we'll go over in a second. Here we're warming up for the pitch. We're kind of going in for it, but not really. We're warming them up for the possibility of a pitch coming down the line. Now, a lot of the content that you write will be middle of funnel content. I think the diagram is, it looks like this. So there's top of funnel content, middle of funnel, and then regular bottom of funnel content. Now, of course, if you want to beef up, and you know, as you start to get larger, I would say that middle or small and middle sized businesses focus mostly on middle funnel and bottom of funnel content, whereas larger enterprises focus on the top and the middle funnel content, and then bottom of funnel content just becomes part of, just, it kind of mixes in there. Okay, so true middle of funnel content to specify also has a call to action that leads to a bottom of funnel article. Now, we'll talk about in the best practices in a couple of minutes about this, but we also want to make sure that we're including funnel mobility. All right, once we get to the bottom of the funnel, we have very little information. They've kind of already moved themselves through your content funnel. It's time for the big pitch. So I'll send out bottom of funnel content sometimes in our emails, or well, most of the time it'll go to middle of funnel content, and then, you know, of course, it'll be linked to some bottom of funnel content. But anyway, there's only a little bit of information. There's the big pitch at the end. I would argue that your bottom of funnel content is your shortest content. Middle of funnel is probably your, you know, 1,500 to 2,500, 3,000 words or so. And then top of funnel content is anything really above that. Now, those aren't, that's not based in any data. That's just, in my opinion, where they kind of are separated out. Bottom of funnel content only allows for upward movement or to move to the call to action. So a little bit about conversion rate optimization. So this would be, think about how a landing page is. Think about a lot of those characteristics. Like, there's not usually a way to get back to the home page. Like, I mean, there's a couple of little nuances. If you visit enough landing pages, you'll start to pick up on them. And those of course are the same practices at the bottom of the funnel. A landing page is, you know, at the top. That landing page works the same way. At the top of the landing page is the top of the funnel, closer to the middle, and then of course you ask for the big pitch, or ask for the sale. Sorry. So an example of bottom of funnel content: how Get Digital Media does SEO different, why you should hire LJ as your business coach. I mean, those kind of things that are very just bluntly pitch. And those kind of pieces are effective, but they cannot be the first thing that you show somebody. So if somebody's never met you before, it's going to seem just like, I mean, yeah, cold pitching sometimes is effective, and like cold email. I still talk about cold email as being something that shouldn't be neglected, that often is, but doing that same idea of cold sending out content, it just doesn't work as well. I'm sure it works in some contexts of people that have already been converted, but just hadn't picked up another person. Or for an example, if you interviewed 2 different marketing agencies, you've been getting your information from this one, you actually meet with them, and it's just you know, not a fit. And then you, of course, move over to somebody else's bottom of funnel content and then complete your process. So anyway, that's kind of how bottom of, or where the content funnel is. And you can really make your ideas around a million different subjects, and of course make it relevant to your business and your audience. And of course, visit your branding experts at Get Digital Media if you need help with that stuff. But I mean, geez, I skipped right over my own thing. So let's talk about some best tools. There are tons of best tools. Idea generators, the HubSpot blog generator, the Copy AI blog generator, blog idea generator. There is, you can go back to Answer Socrates, Answer the Public, Google Trends, and start to really create, that's where you get your ideas. So if you ask somebody to come up with ideas, chances are they're going to visit one of those places. Other places that you can check are comment sections in reviews. So if you're trying, just think about everywhere you would do market research. That's where you can get your best ideas and your best content that, you know, if you can answer a question that a lot of people have and nobody else wants to answer, then you've already talked about, or sorry, you've already converted that part of the audience to say, oh, well, this guy answered the question that I had. What else does this guy know? You kind of open yourself up for more discussions. Other than that, writing tools, I don't generally suggest using any sort of generation device for writing. But if I'm being honest, there are some that are starting to get the grasp, at least for a starting point. I'm never going to use or suggest using, rather. I don't personally use, I hate it, prefer to write myself. But if you're doing these writing generators, these writing tools like Copy AI, Jasper, used to be called Jarvis, and Quillbot, WordTune, those are all great ones that are starting to work much better and produce much more readable results, we'll say. Now, once again, do not rely on them, but even I'll admit I have used it myself as a starting point, especially with some clients who are a little more difficult to write content for. Now, other things for readability, Hemingway, that's pretty much my short list. Oh, the Yoast SEO plugin too, forgot about that one. That's really the readability and SEO kind of almost go hand in hand. Yoast handles both readability and SEO. I would argue that readability does play more into SEO, especially because AI is looking for the simplest answer, or the most direct answer, or the most relevant answer. So that's my case for that. We can talk about that in a whole nother video, but that'd be a really long video. Anyway, so I would, let's see, other SEO tools. There's got to be a couple more that I'm missing. Oh, definitely. Haha. Uber Suggest. Definitely Uber Suggest. And I have a couple of blogs in the resource section that you guys will recognize from in here. So all of those will be on a list. Don't forget about them. Or, sorry, you don't have to remember them. You can just screenshot the final page. So your best practices for content. I want to ask myself three questions when I'm writing, or when I'm making written content. Do I see myself in the copy and the images in the case of social media, or even in the blog banner? Sorry. Do I trust you to fix my problems? And do I like your personality and your vibe? So that's why when we're writing for clients, we're sending out this brief questionnaire. Now, I call it a brief questionnaire, but it's actually like 40 questions long. And it talks about things like, what word would you use to describe something being cooler than normal? Now, personally, I'm going to say It's awesome. That's my favorite. Awesome, awesome, awesome. It's annoying. I know it. I hear it myself when I rewatch the content. I'm like, kill me. But all of that, and that's why we kind of incorporate those ideas in. Sorry, go back to my original point. That's why we incorporate those aspects into writing, is because do I like your personality and your vibes? If they hear one person online and then, you know, when they meet you, it's a whole different person, it's going to kind of skew the trust. Other best practices, like I said earlier, allow funnel mobility. So anchor text, and this is tying into the next point. When you choose your anchor text, choose it with SEO in mind, but also keep in mind which way would you like people to move up and down your funnel. So if I am writing an article about, let's say, LinkedIn SEO, and you don't have a LinkedIn account, obviously that's going to go way over your head, and it's going to, like, you're going to be like, oh, whatever. But if I give you an option to, oh, you don't have a LinkedIn account or your LinkedIn profile set up, then I'm going to link it, and it's going to take you to a different article that's, you know, more suited for what you're doing. And in this, it works also in the same in the reverse, rather. If you land on the how to set up your LinkedIn profile, but you were trying to figure out how to optimize your profile, that would take you down to, or there'd be a link that would say, okay, if you've already set it up, then optimize it. And it'll link back to that other one. So funnel mobility, you got to let people determine that for themselves, really, where they are in your funnel or where they belong in your funnel. As I mentioned before, choose anchor text with SEO in mind, but keeping in mind your keywords, your long tail keywords, and be appropriate with it. Don't just don't. You're going to have to really look at the Google Webmaster to read all of the best practices for anchor text. Another great resource for SEO would be probably, who's the best? Neil Patel, honestly. Probably go look there. There's well, actually, I know for sure that there is an article there. But anyway, go check out that article, and it gives a lot more of the more up-to-date stuff about anchor text and the best practices. Stay consistent with your content. Have fun. Don't be afraid. I really don't do a lot of editing on my recordings, as you guys can tell, because I stutter a lot and don't cut out any of my ums and filler text, for good reason, because I want you guys to get used to it for when we hop on a call eventually. So, experiment and split test. I'm always going to say experiment and split test. It doesn't matter what video, anything. If you've asked me for the best practice, I'm going to tell you to split test in some way, shape, or form. Other things for content, have opt-in boxes, have a PDF download capability. There are plugins that allow for that. I cannot think of any off the top of my head. I'll add them to the end of the video at the bottom. All right. So yeah, that's really my best practices for content. Let's see. Now there are other different ways to do this. Now some people do suggest ungating or just basically not requiring an opt-in for any of your content. But that entire strategy is, I will say it's iffy, and it depends on what kind of business you're running, but for the most part, the other way will work much better. All right. And once again, here is that list of resources, and I'll add those last two plugins in the bottom there. If you guys have any more amazing resources that you'd like to tell me about, leave them in the comments. I would love to have an entire video series dedicated to resources and tools that you guys can use to make your life easier. As always, you can follow me at LJ_2G0D2M1 on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and just about everywhere else. If you need any help, you can book a get-to-know-you call at 2G0D2M1/GTKY, and that is So I'm looking forward to it. I'm so excited. All right. With love and light. Namaste.
Well, you made it to the end of the video, so you may as well subscribe for more awesome stuff just like this. You can also follow us on Facebook, pretty much anywhere. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, or you can stick around to watch more videos right here, right now. Love and light. Namaste.